All right, what's good, YouTube? So I'm not gonna hold you guys too long today. I got a pretty simple topic. I had a Patreon supporter request this topic. And it's a pretty good topic. I like that he asked this. He pretty much asked me, "What? How do you stay relevant? Like how is it that I've continued to make beats and do things outside of just making beats and still continue to maintain the attention that I have. So like I can still put information out there and content, and people still, even years later, are still gravitate to the information. So I kind of narrowed it down to like just three little simple tips, and then I may really go in depth in on my Patreon of how to really stay relevant. So I'm just going based off of what I know, what I've seen, and what I've personally done. But the three tips that I got for you, they're in no particular order. But the first tip that I've got is I think this is the thing that the number one tip that probably has the most relevant. I'll actually save that one for last, to be honest. So maybe there is a little bit of importance. But the first tip that I got for you is stay current with the sound, right? So what you want to do is let's say like for example, we'll take artists like your Fani, your Playboy Cardis, Thousand Band or Thousand Band Finding, the activist young bands and all that. They um, to keep the what I think they needed to do to have stayed to that are what they do to stay relevant is to continue to stay with the sound. Like they continue to progress the sound. So if you notice, if you listen to the beats and everything that they were rapping on when they first kind of got started, like Parking Lot Pimpin', you got your First Day in the Trap, Wish the Worst, Dresser, things like that. Those types of songs and those types of styles. If you notice those styles, it's kind of what popped them off and elevated them. And then as they begin to kind of maintain that type of relevance, they kind of drifted off to different areas and different avenues to kind of stay relevant. But I think that kind of goes with that creates a two-way street. I think that can keep you relevant, but I think it could also hurt your relevance. And I think in some of those cases of the artists that I mentioned, I think it more so hurt their relevance rather than uh, help them. But I'll explain how what I mean. So when I say that it helped their relevance because you stay with the sound. The beats change, the style of rapping is changing, what people want to hear and how they want to hear it. That all of that is changing. So you want to change that to remain relevant so that you're still within the same um, time frame or like timeline as what the current music wave is. However, I do think where a lot of artists mess up is whatever originally popped them off, they stray away from that because they're moved to the new stuff. And I think that's what makes them irrelevant, if that makes sense. So you started off with this certain type of rap over here, right? And then you branched off and started doing this rap over here, but you completely forgot about what started you and what popped you off over here. So I think what the mistake that a lot of artists do and producers and even content creators in general is they start off with one thing that really pops them off, and that was really the basis of their content, and then they forget about that when they move to the new relevant stuff. So it's cool to move to the relevant stuff to stay current with the sound, but you cannot forget about the previous sound that you had. So if you went from one style to the next, you need to still give your core fan base that old style, that style that brought them to you in the first place. So your Fawnies, your Unos and Cardis and bands and whoever else you listen to, the Yeats, the fucking like everybody that you listen to, if you notice their sound evolves, right? But they need to continue to maintain that old sound so that they can, all right, here goes two or three albums of the new sound, but here it goes one album of the old sound that popped me off. So it should always be in ratios like that. So if the new sound is popping off and then it's is getting you the accolades and the attention that you need, you cannot forget about your core fan base that kind of started you off and popped you off in the beginning. You don't want to forget about that because that's where your roots are. That's where the bigger portion of people that listen to you got started. So that's why when you see a dip off of of plays and things of that nature, our attention is because they've gone too far into the new section and the new style and not maintained the old style and forgot about their core fan base. So let's just say for numbers sake, your split is like a 60-40 split. 60% of your people listen to your old stuff and that's what brought them to you, and the new 40% of people are listening to your new stuff. Well, the more core fan base is the 60% because those 60% still listen to some of the new stuff that you have in that 40%. So let's just say for numbers sake, the 60% listen to your old stuff and that's all they listen to. And then you've got an additional 15, 20%. So we'll say 20% that still listen to the old and the new. So the 80% of your active core fan base is from your old stuff, but they're the bigger portion of it. They make up the majority, right? So you and overall your original massive following from your original sound is like makes up 80% of your listening audience, right? But out of the whole total 100%, they make up 60% of your total fan base, right? So they're the larger portion of the overall pie. So if you're just feeding one side of the pie that's on your smaller side, you're feeding a smaller fan base. You're feeding that 20 to 40% of people that are just new and just started listening to you. They may did look back and listen to some old stuff, but they're listening to you because they got attracted to the new stuff. So they're attracted to the new stuff, but not necessarily the old stuff. Whereas your old folks with me are attracted to the old stuff, but maybe not the new stuff. And then you got those people in the middle that listen to both, right? So you really want to make sure you hit each side. So you want to make sure, all right, let me put out an album for the new people, let me put out an album for the old heads, and let me have like combination of the two, right? That I put together for an album for those people that's in between that listen to both either or. I think that's ultimately the best way to kind of help keep yourself relevant. You got to dabble back in the old while still maintaining yourself in the new, but you have to hit the full wide spectrum of people that you're trying to entertain, right? The next one I got on that is work with up and coming people. So a lot of people don't. A lot of people feel like, okay, I started here, right? Then now my attention has gone to here, right? And then now you have some new people that were down here, but now they have risen up to where you were at one point in time. These people up here tend to never speak down to these people down here, whereas these people down here will always reach up to these people up here, right? So with that being said, a lot of people feel like if you're up here and I'm reaching down and I'm talking down to you, and I'm bringing you to my level, so I'm the one with the higher value. That's not necessarily true. The one that is the higher value is the one that's bubbling, right? And the new sound, the new wave, and is eventually going to try to get to your spot. This is the person that holds the power, not this person that has already gone from here to here. They're just a couple of steps ahead, right? You'd want to deal with artists that are up and coming, and you can see like, hey, I can see how what I was going through and what I was doing. I can see it happening for this artist. Let me interact with this artist. Let me you know, do a feature. Let's work together. Even if you're paying for a feature, you are you set up studio time. However it is. Even and it comes. This is the same thing with producers, with content creators in general, artists, and all of that. If you're an up and coming artist, well, if you're already an artist that's established, if you want to keep that establishment, it is best that you continue to work with people that are below your level and also above your level, of course. But the people below your level at that point in time, if you can help them get to your level or help them kind of cultivate themselves while watching them grow, the scale is always going to be like this because you're growing as they grow, and the reason that it is like that is they're growing. This person is growing because of your attention and this person is growing because of their attention and they're constantly moving up the ladder, right? That's kind of how you maintain that relevance. You have to be willing to work with people that you would view has less clout than you to maintain that relevance. You want to have fresh sound, fresh music, fresh artists constantly that you're working with. So say you got an old head rapper. Let's just throw somebody out. Let's say, oh, for example, Chief Keef. All right, let's use Chief Keef for an example. If Chief Keef wants to remain relevant in the music world, he's already made his money. He made his money a long time ago with 300 and all that other stuff like Finally Rich. He made the bulk of his money there, but the way he has maintained his relevance and continued to move up the ladder and continue to stay one of those artists that, all right, he's supposed to drop something, let's go check it out, is because he works with what you would call lower tier artists that are kind of trying to get to his position, right? So you'll see a Chief Keef working with somebody like I think the most recent one I saw was Lil Nar or something like that. So you'll see Chief Keef working with an artist that you would be like, I'm surprised those two work together because Chief Keef is here in my head and this person is here in my head. That's how artists remain relevant and keep their relevance. So you might see an old head rapper from the early 2000s that comes out and makes a song randomly, and let's say it's a good song, it's a hit, right? Um, but it's usually with the new artist. So I know one example that I can think of off the top of my head was a couple months back. I saw Rich Homie Quan was in the had went viral because he posted a snippet of his song, and people were like, "Dang, we forgot about Rich Homie," because him and Thug were like this and this, like neck and neck, right? So Rich Homie had made a song with I can't remember what the artist was, but it was a it was an artist that we hadn't really heard of. But the combination of him being the older artist that has been here, made his money in his establishment, he's reaching down into what would seem like the underground to try to remain relevant. So all artists do this. So that's why you'll see a Young Thug will sign somebody like Lil Keed. You just see what I'm saying? Like Young Thug is here, Lil Keed is here. And the way Thug is going to continue to keep his relevance is by working with artists like Keed, because Keed is on the point of I'm making my uptick as well. So it's best for you to be open to working with people, even if you view them as being less clout, having less clout than you, or whatever the case is. But if there's talent there and the combination of the sound and everything works together, and it's a relevant sound, or it flashes back to your old sound that brought you that attention, it's highly advantageous of you to cultivate that. You want to work with the new artists, up and comers, and you want to work with the artists that you've been working with, but you want to maintain your old sound, but also while cultivating the new sound for the old fans and the new fans. So the biggest thing that I've noticed that personally will help you maintain any type of relevance is plain and simple as this: make your own wave. If you make your own wave, you make your own sound, you will. I promise you, you will stay relevant. Take the Plugs for example. Their sound and everything hasn't really changed a whole lot, but because they're the only ones that's making it and doing it at a high level, they're going to maintain their relevance. The only reason, a big reason as to why they maintain their relevance is because you have these other lower tier artists or producers and whatnot that are making clone versions of their beats, the carbon copies. So that keeps those artists bubbling, because it's like, all right, people, all these new producers are making that are right here are all making Mexico Dro plugs type beat. So that's going to keep the inflated value of Mexico Dro and all the plugs beats up here, because it's like, well, all these new artists are still making this sound, whereas the original sound is still here. So every time a lower level artist or a producer makes a song on a Mexico Dro type beat, it goes like this: it bumps up, bumps him up, bumps up, bumps him up. You see what I'm saying? So as long as people are continuously making your sound and following you because you have your own wave, that's what's going to maintain your relevance. Because if I just blow up because I make Mexico Dro type beat, and then an artist raps on it, and I labeled it as a Mexico Dro type beat, and this artist blows up, what would stop the artist from going to get an original real deal Mexico Dro type beat, instead of my carbon copy or the clone? I'm trying to sound like Mexico Dro. Now this artist is blown up and he can go and interact with Mexico Dro for real. Why would he not go and do that? Why would you not get the name brand over the non-name brand when you can get the name brand, if that makes sense? You see what I'm saying? So to have your own sound is creating yourself as your own brand, your own name brand, and everybody else will be a carbon copy of that. So that's the way that I've noticed that to kind of help keep a person relevant is to stay current with the sound. So you're working with artists that's in the genre and in the sound, and working with up and coming artists and other people, creatives. So that even includes if you're a rapper and you're bubbling, you're sizzling, you got a lot going on, and music wise, everything is staying relevant, everything's good for you, but you may just have to switch up on how you put your art out there. It may be that the art style for albums have changed, and now you need to, all right, I used to make my albums like this, but now I see this is pretty popular. My music's already pretty good. I need to stay relevant. Let's get this style of art, put it with my music, and keep the relevance. So it's things like that, even down to just your dress and your wear. If you think back in the early 2000s, people were wearing baggy tees and big shorts, and had the shades on where they write their name on it, or the little shades with the slits in it. I don't know if I'm dating myself because I'm 27 now, but that was popular, that was relevant. Nobody dresses like that now. You have to remain relevant, and you have to stay popular within the sound, within the style, and in the genre of whatever you're doing. And then finally, make your own wave. I can't stress that enough. Making your own sound and being your own individual person is going to be the best for you, because nobody can be you better than you. Nobody can copy you better than you. There's nobody on this planet that's going to make a better Milan Makes Beats than Milan Makes Beats. Nobody's going to make a better version of my beat than I would make for myself because I'm Milan Makes Beats. I made this style. I made the Milan Makes Beats type beats style. You see what I'm saying? So as long as you remain relevant and true to yourself, that's going to help you maintain that relevance and the attention that you guys are looking for and trying to garnish. So that's really all I got for you guys today. Hopefully this was a helpful one. Follow me on all my social media, Milan Makes Beats. If I got it, you'll find me. If I don't, you won't. Um, like and comment on the video. Give me your thoughts and opinions. If you got any other questions or anything like that, if you got any video suggestions, drop them in the comment section. If you like the video, like it. If you dislike it, dislike it. Either which way, just interact with the video so that the algorithms kind of work in my favor. So that's really all I got for you guys, man. That's about it. Um, we'll see you next week. Again, if you got any questions, drop them in the comment section. Peace.